Hello and Halo, YouTube, TikTok. Diva is in the house. Yeah, we're gonna get this thing going today because I don't have a lot of time. But I got some information that came across to me, and I want to make sure I hip you with some knowledge. Yeah, yours truly, Diva Reed, right here, University, UNARepublic. I want to welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. YouTube. Let me see if I'm up here on YouTube real quick because I really want to get into this today. And I hope to not take a whole lot of time with this because, again, I don't have a lot of time. So let me see. Let me make sure I'm up here. Okay. If I would type on the right keyboard, that'd be okay. All right. So I'm just making sure I'm up, and then we're gonna get it rolling. How y'all doing? Welcome everybody. Today I want to go into a topic that I came across, and it was very interesting. And I want to make sure you all have this so you can go and look it up for yourself. Let's see here. Let's make it, just making sure I'm up and live. On YouTube. All right. Welcome everybody. B3, old man, what's going on? My shop for locks. Welcome. Thank you for the rose. Who else is in the house? My shop for locks is where you need to go if you have locks and you want to make sure your locks stay luxurious. Let me make sure. I'm just checking to make sure I'm up here, and I think I am rolling. So, and then we're going to get started because I just want to make sure all my folks can see me and hear this information that we have going on. So I think we are just about rolling. All right, I'm going to get started. Hopefully YouTube will catch up. This is what's going on. I came across this document, and I really want to go over this today. So let me pull it up here, and so that you all will be able to see it. All right, can y'all see that? No, you can't. See, I don't know. YouTube might be able to see it, but I'm going to set it up so you all can see it. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm going to. There we go. All right, so there we go with that, and then we're going to turn these effects off, and I hope you all can see what I'm doing here in YouTube and TikTok land. So here we go. All right, going over this whole situation with the 40 well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. All right, so let me move this around so I can make sure everybody is seeing this. All right, make sure everybody can see this document. All right, so now, once again, 40 well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. Now, a lot of people do not like that term, and I talked about this on yesterday about the fact that people are slaves and they're not recognizing that they are slaves, okay? And so we need to go through this because of the simple fact that there are a lot of secrets and a lot of things that people have been telling you about that people are unaware of. Now, I need y'all to pay attention to this. See, this is looks like a light-skinned hand or an Albion hand and a melanated person hand. Okay, because if you are calling yourself a citizen, you are indeed a slave. B3 says, and approaching the bench. Not sure what you're talking about, but welcome and thank you. Keep your comments appropriate, and let us make sure we don't knee-jerk. I want to go back to this term slave, all right? And let's make sure we are understanding. A citizen is a slave. That's why you don't hear us talking about sovereign citizen. That's not what we are. We're sovereigns. There is a difference. You're a master of self. A citizen is a slave. So let's keep that in mind. And yes, if you don't know what's going on with law, if you're not understanding what's going on, you're a slave. All right, let's go into it. Now, the thing I want to mention about this, I brought this up because there are some things that are spoken about in here that are not made clear. And then there's some very ambiguous things in here that I want to clear up. For the most document, and you all can find it. You can just type this in. Go ahead and Google this: 40 well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should know. You can Google that. But what I want to do is clarify some things in this document that that are said. All right. For the most part, this is on point. But then there are some things that are not really on point. All right. The Revolutionary War, number one. The Revolutionary War was fraud. The United States did not actually declare independence from Great Britain or the King. All right. So let's be clear on what we're talking about here. All right. When I see terms like this, where they're just putting it up here, it's like they want to alert you with this term fraud and not making it clear what the fraud was. Second. So let's start right here. Notice how United States is in quotation marks. All right. Y'all can see this. Notice that United States is in quotation marks. There is a United States of America, and then there is a United States corporation. When they say that the United States, one moment. When they say that the United States did not actually declare independence, they are correct, because the United States corporation is actually owned by Britain. And this United States operates in what we know of as Washington, D.C. Now, to say that the Revolutionary War was a fraud, I do not agree. Remember, there were several different fractions in here fighting for the territory of the land. So United States Corporation is a British-owned company. All right. And this British-owned company here, what it did, it's pretending to be the actual federal government or the United States of America, and it is not. So there is a difference between the two. And the Revolutionary War created the Declaration of Independence as well as the Constitution for the United States of America. All right. And notice I said Constitution 4. That's the organic constitution. Those came about. The Revolutionary War could actually be looked at as a hostile takeover. All right. Because you had Britain inside of the states, and they were operating and doing all kind of dirty deeds or what have you. And then the people who were running the United States of America got tired of it. That's when the Declaration of Independence came in. The people were upset with the way Britain was running it, but they didn't know the difference between the United States versus the United States of America. All right. So the Revolutionary War was fought. There were different fractions in here fighting, and most of the people were not aware of the different fractions, as they are not today. The same way people tell me, I fight for my country. I fight for my country. They don't have any clue that they're fighting for Britain. These people right here, as opposed to the Americas, which is the country. Now, number 2 goes on to say America is a British colony. This is incorrect. This right here, this is incorrect. All right. The United States Corporation is a British colony. The United States Corporation. Now, if you all don't remember, let me see if I can go back in here real quick and make sure we are clear on the difference between the United States versus the United States of America. All right. The lands here that we're looking at, there's the United States, which is the body of land, as you can see here. Then there's the United States of America. This is the so-called government or federal government, and these are owned by the people. All right. What does that represent? That represents, if I get my mouse to participate, this land here, this is the United States of America. All right. Now, versus the United States is right here. It's in Washington, D.C. That's the only place it resides. This is the United States. This is owned by Britain. There is a difference. This has nothing to do with America whatsoever. Let's make that clear. This territory here, and notice the acronyms. This is United. Let me zoom in so that you all can see this. All right. This right here, this territory here, this is the United States owned by Britain, and it resides right here in Washington, D.C. and nowhere else. It has no jurisdiction or authority on anywhere else in the land other than this 10 mile by 10 mile square land. And actually, it's not even 10 miles by 10 miles anymore. However, what you want to recognize is that there is a difference between the two. This is the democracy. This was created by Britain. This over here is the republic. The republic. And so if you remember, unto the republic for which it stands, that is dealing with the body of land here. And notice that these states, the name is fully spelled out. This is the republic. This is the land where your God-given rights are protected. And when you are standing and claiming to be a part of this territory here, then you're claiming to be a citizen. All right. So getting back to this 40 well, and by the way, go and look this up. Pull this information up because they've provided some case law here. And I'll let you know, I am not a proponent of case law at all, because case law is not law. It's just some judge's opinion. And I need y'all to understand that you and your law stands above these laws. So when they tell you, oh, the United States court is the highest, it is not. The people's court is the highest. And I won't go into that, but when you come into the university, we go into it so you can understand how to stand. All right, so America is not a British colony. It is not. All right, because they are confusing the United States with America. This United States corporation has absolutely nothing to do with America at all. It is a foreign corporation. All right, so it says the United States is a corporation. That is true. Not a landmass. That is true, which is what I just went over. That existed before the Revolutionary War. So getting back to this image that I'm showing you here, these people here, first of all, let's understand what Washington, D.C. is. Washington, D.C. was created by the Constitution for the United States of America. And what the deal was, it created this territory so that when there's a battle or some kind of issue between the states, this was a neutral territory where they could go to and settle their dispute. Now, note, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It is a territory. And Britain came in and set up this United States corporation inside of there to purposely steal or usurp the authority from the original government. All right. So I go into that. If you all have not seen my session on the U.S. versus the United States of America, please go to find us on YouTube under UNARepublic and check that out. All right. Because there we have the full video of that. All right. Carrying on. All right. So this thing is saying the United States is not a corporation. The United States is a corporation, not a landmass that existed before the Revolutionary War. And then in 1781, that's when it incorporated inside of Washington, D.C. Information taken from the Articles of Association, and they're giving you some links that you can look up. Please go and look them up. And please don't find a synopsis of this stuff. When you go look up information, we don't want somebody giving us their opinion. Forget trying to get the cliff notes, all right? You want the actual document. When we're talking about the Declaration of Independence, go look it up and read it. The same thing they were doing back then, Britain. They're doing it today. All right, it's the same battle. It's just the problem is we didn't recognize that these people took on a different name. All right. The British troops did not leave until 1796. And so they're giving you these cases that you can look up. All right. And these publications, look them up so you can see what's going on. Um, Moving on to number 3, the King of England financed both sides of the Revolutionary War. This is true. This is absolutely true. And you got to understand, this is the MO of these people. All right. The same people who fund the NAACP are the same people who fund the KKK. The same people who fund the Black Caucus are the same people who going to fund the Southern Christian leadership. You got to understand, they're going to fight on both sides. This is part of the game. As long as there is a war, then they're going to make money. So you've got to recognize that, yeah, they're funding everything. This is their MO right here. The King of England financed both sides of the Revolutionary War. That's the MO. All right. The gold fringe, symbolic of royalty, which is attached to the border of every U.S. flag hanging in every courtroom across America, symbolizes America being ruled by, to this day, by Great Britain under the international maritime law. All right. So right here, what we're talking about is when you're going into court and you see those gold fringes, that is not the flag of the United States of America. That is a flag where signifying that Britain has taken it over and is still ruling. Sheila says, just haters. Who are haters? Thank you, Black, for joining. Jam, thank you for joining. Sunset Beach in the house, thank you for joining. And thank everybody for sharing. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, excuse me. One second. All right, so I had to restart that because my producer is over here telling me to restart it. All right, so we're moving on. All right, so the gold fringe, once again, it is representing that when you're going into that court, you're not in America. You're dealing with a court that is of another land. That's what that gold fringe represents. So you need to establish your own court, and we show you how to do that in the university. There are no judicial courts in America, and there have not been since 1789. This is when George Washington came into play. George Washington, when he came in, took in office, he rewrote the Constitution. So that what you all know of now, that's a different Constitution than what we know of as the organic or the original Constitution. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes. And for those of y'all who know how we operate under laws, which stand above code, statutes, and ordinances and all that. We deal with law. There have not been any judges in the America since 1789. There have only been administrators, right? But then when you know how to run your own court, you are the judge of it. When you know how to establish court, when you know how to write, you become the judge of your court. Because look, you start to learn and understand that when you are the plaintiff and you bring forth a court, you are the king of that court, so-called quote unquote king of that court. And so we show you how to run your own court. The next one, number 7, the most powerful court in America is not the United States Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is supposedly the highest. Now, Supreme Court of Pennsylvania is the oldest, but they don't know who they are. I'm letting you know that because I talked to them. And most people are clueless of their powers, just like notaries don't have any clue that they have more power than a judge. Just like the coroner does not know that they have more power than the sheriff and can remove the judge. These people are clueless about what their powers are. So they might be the most powerful, but they are clueless about it. And if you try to post any court inside of here, they're going to tell you that they can't handle it. They're going to tell you that they only deal with appeals. So this might be true, But the problem is that these people here with the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania are clueless about what their true powers are. Um, if you are if you are of legal age and retain legal counsel in your defense, you are automatically assumed by the court to be mentally incompetent ward of the court and can therefore be remanded indefinitely to any mental institution of the court's choosing. This is true. If you're saying that if you have a counsel, the reason why they want you to have quote unquote legal counsel is because any type of lawyer or any type of bar person associated with the bar, their first duty is to the court. And when you retain them, then you have no voice. You have no legal standing. You are an imbecile. You are a minor and a minority. Same thing goes if you're calling yourself black or colored or Negro, minority. You are saying that you have no legal standing. Sylv says, where can I find this? The title is called, real quick, scrolling back up to the top, 40 well-known secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. 40 well-known secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. Where can you find this about 1789? Well, when you look up George Washington, he is the one who took office in 1789. They claim that he's the first president, but he wasn't, because the United States of America was incorporated in 1777, and so they had to have a president. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been considered a legal entity. So in 1777, that's when the United States of America was incorporated, and there were presidents before George Washington, but George Washington was the first crony to the Queen of England. And so George Washington and everybody down to Obama, they're related by blood. All right. And if you know about the Organic Constitution, the original 13th Amendment said there would be no royalty in as president. If you were royalty, a duchess, a king, a queen, anything of that nature, a prince or princess, you could not be president. But when George Washington came in, he rewrote that. All right. And that was in 1789. Now, getting back to this, again, if you are of legal age and you retain counsel, you are considered an imbecile. You have no voice. All right. So if you didn't get the book this time, 40 secrets that U.S. slaves should know, or something to that effect. All right. You cannot use the U.S. Constitution to defend yourself because you are not a party to it. This is correct. There is, once again, there's the Organic Constitution for the United States of America. And then there's the U.S. Constitution. And then there's other constitutions that are written in here too. But remember, the one that George Washington, there's more than one constitution. Let's just put it that way. George Washington came and rewrote it. It was no longer the Constitution for the United States of America. It's no longer the organic. And that's when I said he rewrote that 13th Amendment so that he could be president. Because if that 13th Amendment was had been upheld, he couldn't have been in office. All right. Now, when you hear people in court, or they've been arrested or held in contempt for quoting the Constitution, say what the Constitution say. Okay, well, here's the problem. Here's the problem. This thing is copyrighted and trademarked under the BAR. What does BAR stand for? BAR stands for British Accredited Registry. The one says is stop at Obama. When I looked it up, the one Obama was one of the bloodline, but there's when you look at the other two who I don't even want to say it because I forget their names because I don't even deal with that. But if you look at the last two since Obama, they are related some kind of way as well. But Obama definitely was related by blood. All right. Going back to this Constitution. The deal with this U.S. Constitution is that it's copyrighted under the BAR, British Accredited Registry. And this is why, if you're not a member of the BAR and you start quoting from their copyrighted material, yeah, they're going to hold you in contempt because you're in copyright infringement. You're infringing on their copyrighted material. But if you use the Constitution for the United States of America and you put it into your court, meaning you, before we go into court, we're going to make it clear what the laws are. Now, we don't particularly use the Constitution unless we know that there's something in there to our favor. We use the Bible. We use our own laws. We use our maxims. We create our codes or our laws. So if you're quoting their material, yeah, they can hold you in contempt because you're copywriting infringing on their copyrighted material. All right. So you cannot use the Constitution to defend yourself because you're not a party to it. All right. And again, they're giving case law. If you want to look that up, feel free. Number 10, the people does not include you and me. This is not correct. Now, I don't know who they are. Maybe I don't know who they think they are. We're gonna see down here who they think they are in a few minutes, whoever wrote this document. But I am the people, and I will write a law that says I am the people if I need to. But I'm the people, meaning I'm the one who's entitled to anything dealing with the United States of America and the beneficiaries of it. That would be me. And these people don't, we're going to find out who they think they are right here in this next one, number 11. They say, you own no property. Read the deed to the property that you think is yours. And they're correct when they say this. When they say you own no property, and read the deed. When you have a deed to the property, you're just a tenant. And there are several reasons why that is. The people who you bought it from, they don't have the authority to sell it to you because it's not their land to sell it to you in the first place. If you're melanated and you're of this land, the land is already yours. You just didn't know to claim it. All right. So these people give out deeds. And then when you read the deeds, you would be clear that you are just a tenant. Now, I need you to understand who does. First of all, you as the real person, a real being rather, you're the one who, if you're of this land, it already belongs to you. And those who have tried to sell it to you, they've sold you just a deed. With that being said, when you do purchase things in the matrix, when you purchase something in the matrix, it's going under the name of your corporation. So your corporation owns it in the matrix. All right. Not you, the spiritual being. This is why we deal with trust. So you, the spiritual being, can take over ownership from your corporation. Somebody who doesn't understand the term straw man, if you don't understand that term, look it up, do a Google search on it. When we're talking about a straw man, we're talking about that is whose name, that all capital letter corporation, whatever you buy in the matrix is belongs to it, belongs to your corporation. And so when you go under trust, this is when we have the corporation to turn over everything it owns to you, the spiritual being, and then you would be the owner of it. All right. So it's really in the name of your all capital letter corporation. But when we're talking about right here, reading the deed to the property, yeah, they can't sell you the property. That's why it doesn't belong to you. They just sold you a deed. You're listed as the tenant. All right. Legal term for human being refers to an animal impersonating a human. Okay. It's true, such as a slave. And they're saying a slave can't own property. This is why you want to stop calling yourself a citizen and get under trust so that you can own property now. Because they're right. An all capital letter corporation can't own property. But you, the spiritual entity, can. But if you keep calling yourself a slave or a citizen or an all capital letter corporation, then no, you can't own property. We are the slaves and own absolutely nothing. This is incorrect. I am not a slave. And one of the things that we teach our students is not to be claiming titles. When you say we are slaves, that's you're claiming to be a dead entity. You're claiming to be a slave. We don't claim that. We know who we are. So if you don't know who you are, and then you take on this title, you say stuff like this. My people don't say stuff like this. We're not slaves. And we have the right to own what is entitled to us, which is the land, especially you melanated people. My Albion friends, you have the right to you. You have the right to claim God as the one who is your source. And as long as you're standing under that, that's where your sovereignty resides. Melanated people who are here from here and can trace their lineage back, your sovereignty, you have sovereignty in this land. All right. And this goes on to say, not even what we think our children are. So what this is saying is we are slaves and own absolutely nothing, even what we think our children are. If you're not under trust and you don't recognize the game that's going on around you, then no, you don't own your children. This is why DFACS and all these other people can come in and start messing around in the affairs with your child, because you have turned your child over. You've registered your child. Same thing with your car, your house, your marriage, your business. You've registered all that, so you don't own it anymore. Well, when you're under trust, we take back control of all of that. All right. Read your birth certificate. Your mother is listed as an informant. All right. So when your mother informed on you, she gave consent rather to have a corporation created, which is the all capital letter name corporation. But the biggest thing here is to recognize the attitude and the mental attitude. All right. We don't call ourselves slaves. Now, some of us are, some of y'all are. My people are not slaves, because we recognize how to get under trust and what's really going on with this game. All right. Moving on to the next one, number 13. And I got to get out of here after this, but military dictator George Washington divided the states into districts based upon the ritualistic practice of dissecting Masonic squares. This is why even today so many towns are built on a square. America truly is the land of the free, Masons, that is. All right, let's understand this. When we're talking about Washington, D.C., this is the area that is built on that Masonic rituals or Masonic squares. So you can go and look that up, and it goes into that. And these are the once again, the codes or the case law that you can take a look at to find that. All right. And we need to recognize what Freemasons are. When you look up the term Mason, this means that when you break this down, it means Ma for mother, son for offspring of the mother. This is where the women has started teaching the males the esoteric knowledge of what's going on in this third dimension. Well, this term free right here is where they're wanting to be opposite of the mother, because Masons originally revered the woman. The woman's revered here as the Masons, but this free comes in and they're wanting to be free of the mother or opposite of the mother, and lacking respect for her. In addition to obsession with the Masonic ritual symbols, the architecture of the United States is the first country from its very inception to have been surveyed and engineered according to Masonic ritual specifications. Let us once again see these quotes right here. This is representing that territory that's in what we know of as Washington, D.C. right here. So let's be clear about that. So I'm going to have to go into this in another time, and I'll go deeper into this. There are 40 of them. Once again, the title of this document is 40 well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. You can Google this and it should come right up, and you're going to have the PDF. But I wanted to bring out some things that are left a little bit ambiguous, and to point out, what the facts are. This document is pretty much on point. It's a very good tool for going in and doing your research. But keep in mind these quotes here. There is a difference between the United States of America versus the United States Corporation. And this United States has nothing to do with America at all, as long as you keep that in mind. Let me try to answer some questions before I get out of here. No government, no doctors, not understanding that. Mr. Drake says Mason. Yes, my son. Sheila Gree says that's the way they want us to have a birth certificate. Okay. Or that's why, I think it's why they want us to have a birth certificate. Yeah, they want you to have a birth certificate, but you got to understand something. I'm gonna get out of here. Without the birth certificate, they can't do business with you. So when your mother created that birth certificate, you got to start looking at that as more of an asset, because that's what it is. And without it, they can't operate with you. They can't contract with you. And when you learn how to take it over and control it for yourself, then you're going to see the advantage, as opposed to being upset about what's going on. All right. Taking on a few more questions. Let's see here. How do we get under trust? We go through that www.Europe in the UNA University. If you're interested in being a part of UNA University, send us a message in the inbox, or go to UNAuniversity.com and click on that link so that we can set you up for a consultation to be enrolled. So how or what do we know? How or what do we do to own it? Trust Europe. That question comes from Europe. I want to thank all of y'all for joining and following us. Jay says, I knew it. Okay. Let's see who else has any questions. Bookie. Okay. So I'm going to get out of here because I have to go into class. The university is about to be in session. And so I want to join you, or invite you rather, to join us. Join us. Zero, Halo, Hardbody. Thank you. Zoe, thank you for joining. We're going to see y'all next time. Wednesday, we're in the house at 6 p.m. Eastern. I will finish going through these. Make sure you go through them yourself. 40. Let me see, the 40 well-kept secrets that all U.S. slaves should be aware of. I love y'all. I'm yours truly, Deep Lyri. I'm out. Bye-bye.